up everyone, Arman here, and I'm back again to give you another ranking of my top favorite fragrances. This time around, I'm focusing on perfumes that feature tobacco as their main ingredient. It's winter time once more, although we don't get winters here in the Philippines where I live. It's a great excuse, I think, for us to take out and use our bottles of perfumes that are perfect to use in winter, even though the temperature here rarely goes down 20 degrees Celsius. Tobacco in particular, I think, is appropriate for use when the weather is much cooler, and that's because of the warm and comforting vibe that it gives, especially when combined with sweet notes such as vanilla and honey. Other notes that I think go well with tobacco are spices like ginger, cardamom, cinnamon, and boozy notes such as whiskey, rum, and brandy. And also notes that are fruity such as cherry and plum. The sweetness, spiciness, and fruitiness of these notes tend to offset the herbal scent of tobacco, and they also lend a gourmand vibe to tobacco fragrances, which make them smelling delicious, warm, and comforting. Definitely perfect as a cold weather scent. Before I start my top 5, I have one tobacco fragrance which I think is as good as the others but barely made it to the ranking, and I think it deserves an honorable mention, and that is Victor and Rolf Spice Bomb. This to me is a great fragrance, but not as tobacco forward as the others in the list, so I'm just giving this an honorable mention. This opens up with a warm mixture of spices and it dries down to a beautiful powdery tobacco, but I think it doesn't have enough tobacco to be featured in the top 5. To start my ranking, at number 5 is the One Eau de Parfum by Dolce & Gabbana. This fragrance was launched in 2008 and was created by Olivier Polge, known for his works on many Chanel fragrances such as Bleu de Chanel, Parfum, and Coromandel. This is a slightly sweet and powdery amber fragrance that's also kind of spicy because of the ginger, cardamom, and coriander. I also find that the tobacco note here to be a bit dry, meaning that it's not the damp or moist type of tobacco and not as sweet as the others that will follow later. At number 4 is Guerlain's L'Homme Idéal Extrême. This fragrance was launched in 2020, so this is the baby among the fragrances I'm featuring on this ranking. The notes behind this are Thierry Wasser, who's the in-house perfumer of Guerlain, and Delphine Gel. This is a fruity tobacco fragrance that's slightly sweet, tart, almondy, and leathery. It has plum and almond notes, which I think are more dominant than the tobacco. And because of the slight tartness, I think this is not only a cool weather fragrance, but something that can be appropriate also for use all year round. But combined with the sweetness of the almonds and the warmth of the tobacco, leather, and spices, this is like a warm hug during colder nights. It also has a decent projection and longevity, so you get a lot of value from this fragrance, which is moderately priced. By the way, this came out to be number 1 among the fragrances for men last year as voted by the readers of Fragrantica, so this is really worth checking out. Number 3 on my list is Pure Havane from Thierry Mugler, released in 2011, and it is the creation of perfumer Jacques Auclair, who's of course responsible for several Mugler Amen flankers, which by the way I recently made a video ranking the best, so you can check out that video later. I think Pure Havane is a great fragrance. It's sweet from the honey and vanilla, a little bit chocolatey too. Starts off really gooey and warm and comforting, but as it dries down, it becomes a bit powdery. There's not enough tobacco in here despite the name Havane, which is of course a tribute to Cuban Havana cigars. What I actually detect here is a bit of floral and fruity notes, something that reminds me of cherries, which sometimes are the nuances that tobacco can give out. A lot of people, by the way, compare this to Zerjoff Naxos, which I really think has a lot of similarities. Unfortunately, I don't have Naxos, and if I have Naxos in my collection, I would have to be ranking it very high. Number two on my list is Herod from Parfums de Marly, released in 2012, just a year after the success of Pure Havane. This fragrance is the creation of Olivier Pesciot, who's known for his works for Diptyque and also 1 Million by Paco Rabanne. This has a strong vanilla based note, very sweet actually. The tobacco here is on the damp side, not the dry tobacco that you get from the previous ones that I have presented. It's also spicy because of the cinnamon and the pepper. So in a way, it kind of reminds me also of 1 Million. This is without a doubt a cold weather fragrance because of its thick, gooey sweetness, which definitely works better during winter time or in a cooler environment. In hotter weather, the scent disappears quite fast, but when it's colder, the performance is so much better. And finally, number one for me is Ursa by Tiziana Terenzi. The nose behind this fragrance is Paolo Terenzi and was launched in 2015. This is a great sexy fragrance with a very dominant patchouli note. So the tobacco note here is a combination of the damp and dry tobacco. I also get some minty vibe similar to menthol. So it's like, you know, opening up a pack of Marlboro menthols when you spray them. There's also some rum, dried fruits, and vanilla notes here, which I think makes this a bit boozy, fruity, and sweet. I actually couldn't get enough of how good this is. It's really the perfect fragrance for the colder months because it's so warm and comforting, not to mention sexy, of course. I'm just amazed that this hasn't really been in the radar of a lot of fragrance collectors. I think this is a great stuff. Whenever I smell this, I kind of, you know, get weak on my knees because I think it's a very sexy and great fragrance. So there you have it. Those are my top 5 tobacco fragrances. I hope that you like my ranking, and if you have comments on my choices, please feel free to write them below in the comment section. Let me know too if you have some of your favorite tobacco fragrances so I can try them too in the future. For now, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and please subscribe and hit that bell button for more fragrance reviews. So thank you and keep safe.